the election of Adelita Grijalva in Arizona, and what will that do to the investigations surrounding, or the issues surrounding the release of information about the investigation into convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein? Because she will provide the 218th vote for what's called a discharge petition. And you think I'm in the weeds now, just wait till you see where I'm going. What that means is this. If there is a measure that a member of the House of Representatives wants to get to the floor over the objections of the House leadership, they can advance what's called a discharge petition. In order to do that, they have to have a certain number of votes. And in this case, she will provide the final vote that those pushing the petition need. That means that all the Democrats are on board, and right now 4 Republicans to bring the number up to 218, which is what they need. And once they have those signatures, what happens is that the supporters have to go and say we want this to happen, and they get 7. They have 7 legislative days before they can announce that they are going to offer the discharge petition motion. And then once they have done that, the speaker is required to stage a vote on that proposal within 2 legislative days. And if all this took place, theoretically, the discharge petition could pass the House during the week of October 20th. But there's a lot of shenanigans that can take place before that. First of all, one of the things that the House has done under House Speaker Mike Johnson, a Republican of Louisiana, is for the purposes of another thing that had to have legislative action within a certain number of days. What they did is they simply passed a measure saying that for the purposes of that particular measure, the House would not consider any more days, the legislative days. Which, I actually wrote about at the time because I thought that would catch people's attention for Congress to say a day is not a day. But they could do that. They could also further delay the swearing in of the new Representative Grijalva, because right now what Johnson has done in order to jam the Senate and the Democrats on the funding of the government is simply not to be in session. So the House and the Senate as well are not in session this week. Theoretically, they would come back on Monday, and they'd be there on Tuesday as well, the 29th and the 30th of September. Johnson has said they're not going to do that. So what that means is that they will not meet again at least until the 1st of October. And there is language suggesting that, in fact, the official return of the House will not be until October 7th. So you can see how they can string this out. And I expect that we will see that. If you care about the release of the Epstein files, as I do pretty profoundly, this is something you're going to want to keep pressure up on, because clearly Johnson and the White House are trying to run out the clock on that. They don't want that information to come out. So yes, her vote is the vote that is necessary, but getting her in a position to be able to vote is going to be delayed, is my suspicion. And once she produces that vote, and again, other people could change their votes at that point, although right now there's no sign of that happening, then there are ways that Johnson could stretch out the calendar to say that, for the purposes of this petition, a legislative day will not be a legislative day, which, again, I just find absolutely mind-boggling. You shouldn't be able to say a day is not a day, as far as I'm concerned. All right. So here's the other big question that people are asking about. People asked if I think the Epstein files have been destroyed, and my answer to that is maybe. But an awful lot of people have seen them at this point and have had their hands on them. So there's a lot of people who know what's in there, and as it becomes more valuable to have them in public versus having them kept private. I suspect we're going to hear from more of those people. I don't know, of course, but that's one of the things about the historical record in the modern era is it's very hard to make it go away. There's always somebody who knows something. And that's not true in the first half of the 19th century and before that, when if you wanted to make something go away, you could burn your papers. Now think about how many people know anything in the modern world, and so I'm not entirely certain that that's a I don't know. The bottom line is I don't know, but it doesn't keep me up at night.